One of the things that I've done with my guys for the last 5 years, I call it the 5 stones, okay? And I came up with it based off of the story of David and Goliath, okay? But it's not like the little guy versus the big guy. David didn't think he was small, guys. He didn't see himself as a little guy, okay? And there's something behind that, okay? There's the Spirit of God that's behind that. There's also a really confident young man who knew who he was. He knew what he was about. He knew what he believed in. He knew how to get things done. When they brought him the news about the giant, he said, oh, he'll just be like one of those bears or lions that I killed. So he's killed wild animals. He's not afraid of this giant. So what does that talk about? It talks about preparation, okay? It's really cool to be in here because just seeing like offensive goals, defensive goals, special teams goals, and some of the different things that they have an approach. And once you're prepared, that gives confidence. That gives trust in your ability. So the 5 stones model that I use with my players, there's 5 areas of a man's life, not just you guys, but all of us in here, every single man. There's 5 areas that life is asking you, testing you to see if you're ready every single day. It's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's social, and it's spiritual. That's the 5 stones, 5-stone model. And I promise you guys, if you do nothing to invest in this, it don't get better, and it doesn't stay the same, it gets worse. What happens if you don't work out for 2 days? A little bit, right? What about 2 weeks? Right? 2 months, 2 years, starts to decline, right? So we don't get better or stay the same. We naturally get worse in all these areas, right? So your mental game, right? Studying, obviously, learning different things, being exposed to the world, figuring the world out, right? Socially, okay? This is a big one for you guys, okay? As you guys are in high school, when you go to the next level, all the social relationships and the dynamics that you have get really difficult, okay? The older you get, the more challenging this becomes, especially if that's what you choose to do is to start a family and get married, have kids, then it gets really tricky, okay? This one right here for men, you guys, our country has failed us big time, preparing us emotionally, okay? Here's what you guys are told ever since you were little. Suck it up. Stop being a sissy, okay? Quit crying. That's what you've been told. I was told that. We all were. It's good. It's good to an extent that it helps us to grow, to be able to handle stuff. But guess what? There's a whole other side of that thing. There's a whole other side of that thing where if you're just sucking it up all the time, you're not over here creating an ability for you to feel what others feel. Does anybody know what that word's called? Feeling what other people feel. Empathy, okay? Empathy is being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Here's what happens when you have empathy. You can't steal somebody's stuff, okay? You can't have 3 different girlfriends at the same time because of what it does to the other 2, okay? And then you guys know, like you hear it in the news all the time, right? There's violence that happens, right? Whether it's domestic violence, all those different things. When you have empathy, it makes it impossible to do that stuff because you put yourself in these other people's shoes and go, I can't do that. So anyway, that's a whole world of its own, okay? Spiritual, I promise you this one doesn't grow unless you invest. Unless you invest, unless you commit to allowing God to change who you are, change your life, okay? This one I had to learn the long, hard way, okay? My spiritual journey took me until I was like 33 years old to really figure it out. I had 2 kids and I was married. I was a deadbeat dad and I was a horrible husband, okay? And it was because I had never invested here, okay? My social relationships were all about me. I didn't really take time to learn what it took to be a good husband and a good dad, okay? Even though I had a good dad and all that. I hadn't invested in myself, so all of a sudden, in these areas, all of a sudden, My marriage, my life was in just a wreck. And then that put me back to ground zero. Okay? My wife and I had to start over all the way at the bottom after being married for 9 years, guys. And I just say that because these are the things to think about every day. Okay? Here's what David did. He walked down, got away from the crowd, went down to the creek. Okay? Where's your creek at? Do you guys ever just have any space in your life where you just sit and think about what you're going to do? Remember how we sat in there and just kind of thought about, what do I want to get better at today? Just had a clear thought about that. Do you guys practice that? Good. The more that you put yourself in those situations, the more fruit you're going to see come out of these different areas. He walked down to the creek and he picked 5 perfect stones for his sling that fit him. We're all different, okay? We come in all different shapes and sizes, right? What's the saying? It takes all kinds, right? All of us. And for you to sit and learn who you are, to learn where you're at in all these areas, so that when it gets tested, you're made of the right stuff, okay? You're made of that stuff, okay? There's all kinds of different comparisons in the football world that we can talk about, we can come up with forever. That's what I love about football, right? Football teaches you everything you ever need to know about life if you're looking, if you're listening, if you're paying attention, right? So anyway, that's the 5 stones model, so that when you reach down, and you need one, okay? When you reach down, you need to be fit. You need to be strong. You need to be fast. Oh man, if I would have just hit the track a little bit more. Oh, if I would have just hit the weights a little bit harder. Oh, if I would have spent a little bit more time stretching. Oh, if I would have not eaten so much junk, you know? When you get tested here, man, if I would have spent a little bit more time in the Word. If I would have spent a little bit more time in prayer. Take those regrets out by just taking some time, picking out those stones, making sure that they're in your pouch here, so that when you need to use them, you reach down, they're ready. Because life's not going to wait for you. Life's not kind that way. We're constantly being tested with opportunities to grow. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. That's the conversations I have on Saturday night before our Sunday games. That's our Saturday night with the wideouts for 3 years, the quarterbacks for the last 2. And then I'll stop and I'll ask you guys questions. And you guys are my players right now. So this is kind of what we do.